And we're recording.
Okay, well, welcome everybody to the Amherst Design Review Board meeting of August 18th, 2025. My name is Erica Zekas and as the chair of the Design Review Board, I'm calling the meeting to order at 5:02 p.m. The meeting is being recorded and will be made available via the Town of Amherst YouTube channel, and minutes are being taken. The meeting will be conducted via remote means pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2025 and extended through June 30th, 2027, the ability of public bodies to meet in a fully remote or hybrid manner. Members of the public who wish to access the meeting may do so via Zoom or by telephone. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. A hyperlink to the hearing is posted on the town's online calendar. Roll call. I'll take roll call. Board members, when I call your name, please answer in the affirmative. Lindsay Schnarr.
Present.
Karen Winter.
Here.
Hi, Karen. Pat Oth. Not present. Karen Blum.
Here.
And Eric Zekos, present. Board members, if technical issues arise, we may need to pause temporarily to fix the problem and then continue the meeting. If the discussion needs to pause, it will be noted in the minutes. Please use the raised hand function to ask a question or make a comment. I'll see your request and call on you to speak. And after speaking, please remember to remute yourself. The general public comment item is reserved for public comment regarding items that are both on and are not on tonight's agenda. Please be aware that the board will not respond to comments during the general public comment period. Public comment could also be heard at other times during the meeting when determined appropriate. Please indicate that you wish to make a comment by clicking the raised hand button when public comment is solicited. If you've joined the Zoom meeting using a telephone, please indicate that you wish to make a comment by pressing *9 on your phone. When called on, please identify yourself by stating your full name and address and put yourself back into mute when finished speaking. Residents can express their views for up to 3 minutes or at the discussion of the chair. If a speaker does not comply with the guidelines or exceeds their allotted time, the participation will be discontinued from the meeting. At tonight's meeting, the Design Review Board will conduct the following business. We'll start with general public comment period and then move on to agenda items DRB FY 2026-02, 69 South Pleasant Street, the Grand Block, and 2026-05, 236 North Pleasant Street RLS properties. We'll then move on to the review of meeting minutes. And folks, we have 3 meetings to review: May, June, and then August 5th, and then any other business not anticipated. And I'd like to also remind folks that regarding 69 South Pleasant Street, the applicants gave us a full presentation at the last meeting, and then we realized that we did not have a quorum because one of the members of the Design Review Board works at the architecture office. And so they gave us the full presentation and we had the opportunity for Q&A. And we asked the DRB to review the recorded meeting and to review the minutes so that they don't have to re-present tonight. So we'll have an abbreviated kind of brief recap, and then opportunity for any additional questions. And then hopefully we can move right on to recommendations and a vote. Okay, with that said, are there any members of the public who wish to speak this evening?
Not seeing any hands.
Okay, thanks, Jacinta. Well, then we can move right on to the first agenda item. And let's see, I have. Hi, Brad.
Hi everyone. I'm Brad. I'm with Kuhn Riddle Architects. I'm filling in with for Jonathan while he's away on vacation right now.
Well, we appreciate you being here. I have the presentation documents that were shared at the last meeting.
Okay.
Hopefully this looks familiar. And as you just heard, Jonathan did give us the full presentation last time. And just gonna open the floor for either any updates from you or any additional questions from DRB members. Brad, do you have anything that you would add to?
Sure. Yeah, I did review the video and saw what Jonathan presented. I guess the only thing I would say is if you scroll down, Erica, I think I don't know if it's page 3 or 4. One more. Nope, two more, sorry. Yeah, so that was revised for the comments from the last meeting. You would probably have to zoom in a little bit um, to see. I did sort of update um, on that sort of 3D
Mm-hmm.
rendering. It both the existing and the new windows now are shown as being arched heads, and I
Gotcha.
called that out on the drawing, and I for the purposes of the design review board, highlighted the changes. Um, so I think, I'm certainly happy to answer any other questions or concerns, but I think that addressed the comments from the previous meeting.
Appreciate that. Thank you for pointing that out to us. DRB members, any additional lines of questioning for Brad? Since he's here, should we? Okay. Great. And then as a recap of the last meeting, that you've already responded to the request to introduce the arched lintel at windows and doors. There were certainly some other questions that came up, but none of them really translated directly into recommendations. But let's open the door to discussion now and try to parlay this into some recommendations and or just a straight approval or otherwise of this project. And Lindsay, did you want to make a statement? We do have a quorum without you.
I think we'll just go with the quorum
Okay,
unless I'm needed.
great. Karen, any ideas, any thoughts? Karen, please.
Yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward and well done. And I'm grateful that you have provided the arched lentils for the windows. I think it will make a big difference. But I think we can go ahead and approve it at this point, in my opinion.
Okay. Karen, please.
I agree with what Karen said, and we can move forward.
Excellent. I'm in agreement as well. I think that was a really big and significant change that was made to the documents and ultimately to the building. Would anybody like to make a motion to approve as presented? Karen?
I make a move to approve this application as presented. Yeah, that's.
Thank you. A second?
I second.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye, raise your hands. All right, so we've got Erica, Karen, and Karen, and Lindsay's vote is abstention. Okay, great.
Great,
Brad,
thank you
thank
all.
you.
Appreciate it. Yeah,
I appreciate
Yep.
your patience as we rallied to finally get this project through the DRB.
yeah, my pleasure. Enjoy your evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a nice night. Okay, lovely. That was efficient. Close that document and then we will move on to 236 North Pleasant Street.
Jack will be joining us shortly. Jack Shumway.
Great.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Jack. Welcome. Thank you for
Thank
being
you.
here. As it often happens, and I know you've done this before, we ask our applicants to walk us through their project. I have up on my screen all of the documents and images that you submitted as part of the application, and I'm happy to share my screen and you can kind of direct me through
Sure.
as you're talking, or you're welcome to do that if you'd prefer.
If you could please share it, that'd be best.
Sure. Okay.
Thanks.
Give me 1 second to pull that up. Okay, and I'll let you know what I've got up. I've got your this kind of details of the sign, a mock-up of the location, the full building facade.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where
So
would
if
you
you
like me to
look,
begin?
yeah, if you go back to the my best attempt to bring out the dimensions of the building itself.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
um, and right after this, you can go to the actual sign itself. But
Okay.
the sign will mimic the two colors there. So although it looks more of a beige when you actually look at the sign plan, it's gonna mimic the exact same trim color, which is closer to a white, but I think it's really called a Swiss mocha.
Mhm.
So it will look like it belongs. And the trim around the individual slats and around the larger sign itself will mimic the calligraphy color, which is closely looked at as the navy right there.
Mhm.
It will be under the light. I think one day years ago there was a sign there in similar size, but we wanted to sort of spruce it up and make it look really nice. So 3 by 4 feet. The actual sign itself, if you want to move back to the other image of the sign, from top to bottom, it's 3 feet. But obviously, as you can see, the corners, the top right and top left of the sign will be sort of shaded a little bit, rounded up. It'll be on MDO plywood, which is sort of a double bonded, sort of super weather resistant plywood. It'll have multiple coats. The individual slats will be removable in case tenants do change. And we can, get individual slats made, but there'll be black lettering. To me, it seems like a pretty straightforward presentation, but if there's any questions, please let us know.
Great. There's some overall dimensions and then the individual slats. There's the building. And thank you for providing some really key dimensions of the kind of the whole facade. You're clearly within the kind of 10% square
Mhm.
footage limit there. All right, well, if that's the extent of the presentation, I should turn it over to members of the Design Review Board for any clarifying questions or comments. Does anybody want to start? Lindsay, please.
Hello. Thank you for sharing this. I think overall it is straightforward, and I just have a couple clarifying comments or suggestions. If we could go, I guess we can start here.
Mhm.
In terms of the, well, the text size is my only real, well, that's my primary concern. I understand the reason that it's shrinking and expanding based on the space that's available. I'm wondering if there's some kind of happy middle ground where they could all be the same size and all fit, even if it requires 2 lines. So that would be my first recommendation, is to adjust the font size so that there's a uniform size to all the business names. I think I also would suggest not creating the border around each of the business names. I think that actually may help you out with the different lengths of names. You could separate the businesses by a single horizontal line that doesn't go all the way to the edge, and just remove the whole box around it. I think that would be a lot cleaner. If you do go with the border around the business names, I would just make sure, and this could just be a Photoshop thing, but I am trying to look for these things. So if you could keep the space between the box or border around the name and the border around the whole sign, keep that spacing on the edges consistent for each of the business names. I'm just noticing that the bottom RP Masiello Inc. Border seems to get closer to the sign border on the right side, especially.
That would, yeah, great, great point. That's certainly a Photoshop error. So if you go over to the
Yeah.
other one, it's going to look how you would hope to look,
Yeah,
as
right.
symmetrical as you can get it. So that was the person that's doing the artwork on the sign. He last minute kind of gave us that for permit
Got it.
purposes, design
Okay.
purposes. So
Gotcha.
Thank you. Yeah, this is helpful. And then Erica, could you go to the image with the overall building and dimensions, please? The only other comment I would make here is just, you probably already have this plan, but to center the sign in that overall space with the clapboards between the door and the window, and to keep the head height of the sign, the top of the curve, maybe right where it's shown so that it lines up the top of the door to the left. And that is it for me. Thank you.
I'm taking notes. Great. Karin or Karen? Anything to
Well,
add or question?
I agree with Lindsay about the third line print and the size of it. And I don't know if you want to move to 2 lines or you want to make the one above similar, but it does seem, I just have concerns about the difference. The sign is very attractive. It's just those details.
Mhm.
I think we're going to make an effort to try to make the font size the same. That's a very good point.
Mhm. That's great. I had a question since you mentioned that the individual name panels would be removable and hung on the backboard of the sign. What the hook mechanism is going to, could you talk a little bit about that? How you're going to hang them if they're replaceable?
Let me see if I can pull that information up.
Mhm. I think it's not going to be highly visible in any case, especially like from the street, but I just want to make sure that you choose something that's not going to rust or.
It would not be visible. I'm trying to look up if I have information on actually how it's going to latch and lock in.
Mhm.
If I had to imagine, it would be some sort of um, glide and lock into the side type
Okay.
of hinge. But I'm actually unsure. It was certainly will not be visible. The sign will look just as is, but
Okay.
in real life 3D would. So.
But there will be a little shadow because the RLS properties, for example, will be on top of right? It'll be a piece on top of the backboard.
Correct.
Mhm. And then the other thing that came up for me was the relationship of the sign and this existing light fixture. It looks like the plan is to center the signage on the space between the door and the window, but it also looks like this light fixture is not on that same center line. And I'm wondering if you could either, well, I think ideally, especially since the sign itself is on a center line, it's organized symmetrically around that center axis, if the light fixture could move to align with the signage.
So this is a tricky, I think the actual angle of this photograph is not exactly head on.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could imagine where you're standing looking at this, moving 5 feet left, and you'll see that the light's actually a bit more centered than it appears. Now, given that, the sign, the plan, if you, I mean, I tried to emulate it. It may not be exactly in the middle. It's going to be probably a bit more left center than it might appear here, because we do want it centered around that. But the light will fully encompass most of that wall. So
Sorry, I didn't mean to stop my share.
no, that's okay. We're going to be, you know, come nighttime when we see how that light moves. I mean, it does encapsulate most of that wall. It might be a little left center because we do want it to be in the center of that. So we don't want to be missing on that. But
So
yeah,
that's
the view of this photograph, just in general, if you move 4 feet, 5 feet to the left, if you're there in person,
yeah.
the light does look more centered than it does in this photograph. So
Okay.
apologies for that.
All right. Because I guess, yeah, I think my recommendation would be to center the sign on the light fixture and not the space. But
That's going to be the goal.
yeah,
We're completely aligned there.
okay. Great. Let me see if I can clear all this stuff away. Okay. And then I'm gonna just come back to, oops. Hold on one second. 2 screens. I'm struggling to come back to this one. Lindsay's comment about eliminating the line, basically eliminating this border and instead having a painted line on the surface as the separating element. Lindsay, am I interpreting that correctly?
Yes.
Would give you some more space for perhaps a 2 lines of text for the
Mhm.
the businesses that have kind of longer names and get quite small.
We can look at that.
Mhm.
We would consult with the person making it. The way that we have it now, we believe will look very nice. I think the font, making sure that the size of the letters is similar size, is something we're going to take back and see if we can accomplish. And not opposed to having the Amherst Development Associates and Hampshire Hospitality Group be 2 lines.
Yeah.
So we'll see about that, but we do think it'll look really sharp with having each slat have a small border as well.
Yeah, I think that there's I think it will look rather nice, but you know, that 6 inches may end up being a little bit tight for both increased font size, and even the Hampshire Hospitality Group font size on 2 lines starts to get a little crowded. So I think, you know, if the space between the sign panels got a little smaller, that would be fine in order to have your overall, like your matching font sizes and 2 lines if necessary. Okay. Where are we? Okay, clear all drawings. Any additional comments, concerns, questions, follow-ups? Okay. What I jotted down, and just to correct me if you have more, that our recommendations include a recommendation to keep all business names in the same font size and use 2 lines if necessary. Consider separating the individual sign panels with a single horizontal painted line on the backboard in lieu of a border around each panel. To align the top of the sign, i.e. the curved edge of the sign, at the same height as the top of the door, and to center the sign on the light fixture above.
Copy that. I have the same notes.
Okay. So for the sake of expediency, I'll move that we accept this proposal with the recommendations I just stated.
I
Thank
second.
Karen?
you.
I
I have a
second.
question. Sorry, I'm interrupting the most important part. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's all right. This is opportunity for discussion. We've got our second. Jack, go ahead.
It's on the, I'd like to hear more about the thought, given I don't personally have a design background. That's where we sort of work with consult people for this, but the line in between the slats versus the border, is that potentially adding into, I guess the thought behind that maybe looking better? Does that have to bring in that there's going to be a risen slat and potential shadow? Or I'm just curious because we certainly want to consider it.
I wasn't imagining that it was a raised element. Were you, Erica?
I think it is raised just by virtue of the fact that it's on a hook on the background panel. There,
Oh,
those
sorry.
should a business change, that's a replaceable element.
Got it. So I guess I'm confused by the question.
I see. If you imagined this, that there were so the individual slats, so
Mhm,
RLS properties, and each one it will be raised a little bit off of the back sign.
mhm,
So we thought it would be nice that each slat has the same trim as the back sign. I
mhm.
can see what you were saying. If it was not raised, I would agree with you that it would look better with the individual line in between each name. Um, I didn't know if you had thought it was going to look better knowing that it was a little bit raised off of the back board, I would say.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, I actually think that just by virtue of it being raised, you don't need a line. Because you do have that shadow line that is inherent. However, you could put a line on the back board between the 2 slats. That just creates that almost, a row that's a regular spacing. So I don't know if I can draw on this, but does that make sense?
We can't
Erica,
see the
can you?
screen. Erica, you'd have to stop sharing.
Oh,
Until it.
I'm not. I'm asking if someone can
Oh,
draw
Let's see.
for me.
I think I understand what you were saying. I do think if yeah, I
Thank you.
understand what you were saying there. If they weren't raised, I think that's a really an idea that I think we would really consider. But the
Mhm.
fact that they are raised, I think we want each slat to have this same trim as the back. So, and I appreciate the thought.
I understand.
Okay. So I think the wording of the motion was just consider, so we don't really have to change it. Although if somebody wanted to make a friendly amendment, we certainly could. Karen, did you want to add to the discussion?
I just want to say that we should think about the fact that if the fonts of all the things are similar and they all sort of would be a little bit probably fatter and stick out more, 2 lines, then you might with Photoshop look at the look at what it would look like to not have a border, maybe that would be, and you might prefer it, just, I think it would be a simple design thing to have two versions and see which one, if you still felt that the border was something that you wanted. But I agree that if you got rid of the border, it seems that you'd have, you could play with the spacing a little bit more. But I realize you want to have them interchangeable, that when there's a new group, you want a new sign that fits in. So it's just something that I think you might want to think about. But certainly, I agree that we can approve it as you have sort of designed it with all those recommendations that
Yeah.
Erica mentioned.
Thanks, Karen. And I think the motion kind of incorporates that possibility. So, okay then. Are we ready for a vote? Moved, seconded. All those in favor of the motion with recommendations to approve? That's everyone. Thank you. Jack, thanks for your presentation tonight.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing that up. Okay. Let me get to the minutes. And folks, we have 3 meetings worth of minutes to approve this evening. I'm really hopeful that you read them in advance. So, but the first meeting is Monday, May 19th. If you recall, that was the night that we met about the Munson Library and the ramp. And that was then followed by Zoo's Kitchen, and then chairs and table outside of Astor and Pine.
Mhm.
So have you all read them? Does anybody have any edits or changes? Can I have a motion to approve?
I move to approve the minutes from Monday, May 19th, 2025.
Great, thank you. A second?
I second.
Thanks. All those in favor?
Aye.
That's everybody. Thank you. The next was June 16th. And we talked about Floral Affairs. Their sign is up. Looks lovely. And that was it. Does anybody need me to do a slow scroll, or you've already read them? Okay. Motion to approve as written by me. A second. Karen seconds. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's everybody. Thank you. And then the last minutes are Tuesday, August 5. And here we had the full presentation for 69 South Pleasant Street, and then also heard from Asian Taste on 11 North Pleasant Street, and new signage for Fresh Side at 39 South Pleasant Street. Oh, right, and then also the Closet, 61 Main Street. Busy meeting. So would anybody like me to do a slow scroll of this one, or have you reviewed these minutes? I thought they looked good.
I move to approve the minutes from Tuesday, August 5th, 2025.
Thanks, Lindsay. A second?
Second.
I heard Karen. And then all those in favor of approving the minutes? That's aye. That's everybody. All hands. Thank you. Great. Jacinta, you are the minutes maestro. Thank you. That's everybody. Is there any business unanticipated coming before us this evening?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Is there
I
any?
just want to check in on Jacinta. I know you're going to check in about potential for a person to join the DRB who works in the town of Amherst but does not live in the town of Amherst. Have you heard anything on that front?
I did ask, and the response that I received was that they don't have to live in the town of Amherst. So I think they're eligible if they want to proceed, but that was the last that I heard.
Okay.
I know that they said they would double check, but I didn't hear anything after that. So the last word was they do not have to be an Amherst resident.
Okay. Well, with that, I do have someone in mind that I would recommend, and the only downside is that she also works at CUNY, so that doesn't help out the issue of recusal. But I think with the the note of being able to remain objective, maybe that will do the trick.
Yeah.
So, what would
And
be the
it's,
process? Yes, go ahead.
I just want to insert that it's great that Kuhn Riddle has so many awesome designers, and if anybody is interested in participating in the DRB, it's definitely not a problem. So much good work, and yeah. Anyway,
I think she'll be a great addition if if she's able to. So I just would be curious what the process is to share with her. So we don't have to do that right now. But if you're able to share that with me just until we can set up a separate time.
Sure, certainly. I will look into it and we can schedule something off.
yeah, there's a community participation form for anybody who's interested in being a part of a town committee or board. Then I think that that's a first stop. So,
Okay.
That is correct.
okay.
So I can forward that form to you if you don't have it already.
Yeah.
That would be
And if
very
any of our
helpful.
thousands of listeners and followers would like to be a part of this awesome group of people, please fill out that form. We'd love to have you.
Mhm.
All right, folks, that is it.
Yes.
Nice
We did
tidy
it.
meeting. Great. Our next gathering
Oh, yes. Let's confirm.
would be September
1.
15.
Are you looking at the schedule that I shared?
Oh, I am not. I'm just looking at my own
Ah,
calendar. What have you
okay.
got?
Oh. Yes, that is correct. September 15th.
September
So a
15th.
full month.
A full month. Okay, great. And if I don't see you all in town before then, I'll see you on the screen in mid-September.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks. Take care, be well, enjoy the sunshine.
Too.
Thank you too.
Good
Bye.
night.